Now, again, remember, I do not recommend all of these extra debt measures until you know what you're doing. It takes time. I know there's a lot of excitement in real estate and you just want to get going and maybe you don't have the cash yet. But remember, all the way back to number one, there is nothing wrong with just letting the cash stack. Dion has proven time and time again that if you just have a plan, you're disciplined, maybe you go get a side hustle and stack that cash also. You can get there, right? This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Let's talk about how to scale a portfolio. I get asked all the time by new investors. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you have one or two, but you're envisioning having 10, 20, and more. So I've come up with a list of 5 ways that a new investor, or frankly, any investor, could scale their portfolio. I want you to pay attention to the very end because I'm going to give you the 6th one, which is really the key. But let's start talking about the first one. I'm going to give Dion from Dion Talk Financial Freedom credit for number 1. He has proven to us time and time again that there is nothing wrong with simply stacking cash. Dion often tells the story, I believe, where it took him 3 years after getting the first, or deciding to do it, to get the first one. Then it took him 2 years. Then it took him 1 year. The ability to stack cash from cash flow in job, living below your means, is the tried and true way. And as Dion has shown us, is an awesome way to earn financial freedom with just a handful of properties. Number 2, this is something that Olivia and I did and did incorrectly. We did wrong the first time, and we talked about it in One Rental at a Time. And that is quite simply just a cash out refi. In the beginning, when you're starting out and you're building equity in residential properties, 1 to 4 units, it is very easy to go back to the bank at some point and say, hey, can I get a cash out refi? Now, something that we didn't know, or at least I didn't know and did incorrectly, is the bank could potentially loan you a lot new money and turn a good cash flow property into what now I call an alligator, where it is negative cash flow. Folks, we're going to continue on this list. I just want you to admire the background. I do want you to know it is freezing right now. It's got to be 36 or 37 degrees with a wind chill factor probably in the teens. It is whipping around the fjords of Greenland. You are seeing the backdrop here. That is just one of the hundreds of waterfalls that we will see. We're going to see a couple of glaciers and all of that. Actually, right up here, that little point right there, that's actually the start of a glacier that we are going to see. I think we're going to see 4 or 5 of them on the journey back to Reykjavik. So hopefully the wind is not too bad and I'm not doing this for nothing. All right, let's continue on. Number 3, this was a big one. This was the secret. This was the explosive growth for Olivia and I. We talk about it again in our book, One Rental at a Time. Do me a favor, folks. Have you read One Rental at a Time? Let me know in the comments below. More importantly, have you gone back to Amazon and left a 5-star review? If not, I would appreciate it. That book meant a lot to us. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, shout out Dion for being the narrator. If you ever go to Audible, you can get One Rental at a Time and listen to Dion narrate the book. How cool is that? So number 3 is a 1031 exchange. This is where Olivia and I took 8 houses, technically 6 houses in a duplex, 8 units, and turned it into 80 units. Now, why a 1031 exchange versus cash out refi? Well, in this example, we believed that housing was overvalued. We believed, thanks to Bruce Norris, that California was going to have a crash. Now, I expected a 25 or 30% adjustment. In reality, Fresno went down 75%. I had no idea. But yes, we got out. We sold all the houses at the peak, and we moved that equity into apartments. Now, running apartments is not the same as running houses, but that is a conversation for another day and another video. But yes, a 1031 exchange is wonderful. I like these when you think an asset is overvalued and when you see another asset type that is undervalued. The key that made this a tremendous strategy for us was houses were simply overvalued. And we were able to take fake equity and move that into another asset, which at the time was depressed. Yes, multifamily was depressed. Why? because we had to offer reduced rents, reduced deposits, move-in specials, because everybody was buying a home. Number 4, private money. Again, something that we talked about in the book, One Rental at a Time. Now, private money, you have to be careful. I do not recommend it for new investors. If you're going to go the route of raising private money, and by private money, I mean debt, you're going to get them as first or second lien positions. The thing about being private money is you have to be able to document why you are finding deals. What is a good deal? Why are you good at what you're doing? I do not recommend private debt for someone who has never done it. Private debt is not a tool that you should be using if you've never done a deal. But yes, private money is amazing. Ooh, we're going to come up on a crevice here in probably 20 minutes, and we might see a glacier together if I can keep riffing on this topic. So again, private money, only do it once you have the skill or experience to document your story. Again, when you do it well, people will come to you and say, hey, can you take my money? Now, number 5, it's a little different flavor of private money. It's called joint ventures. A joint venture in this case is someone who has part of the equity, where a private money is all debt. Now, it's no secret that Olivia and I prefer private money. We prefer to have our relationships where our quote-unquote partner, our lender, our bank, our private money is the debt, where if we don't pay, they can foreclose. We do not like joint ventures where we have an equity partner. The reason we don't like that is because, again, when you have those relationships, they may have things go on in their life that means you're forced selling. It's too much of a hassle, but I do know there's lots of people that make joint ventures work. So if that's you, if you have the relationship, if you have somebody with time and experience and you're the money, or vice versa, joint ventures might be a great option for you. There are other things that we've talked about in the book, One Rental at a Time, that we should highlight here, something that we have used. One is a 401k loan. I don't know if you have a 401k at your employer, but that is something Olivia and I both had. It did allow us, in our case, again, check the rules for your business or your company, but we were able to borrow 50% or up to 50 grand. Now, in our case, I could, at least where I could technically borrow 2 or 3 different loans. I had a limit, and then I could pay them back. In our case, I was able to borrow, pay it back in a year, and then borrow again. It was a very flexible and robust 401k program. Again, check with your employer, see what the rules are. Next is a car loan. One of the things that we did during the depths of 2010 and 11 when we were finding deals left, right, and center was we went out and took one of our cars, our Lexus, and we got a car loan. It was paid off, but we realized that there was a deal out there that we could close if we had the equity available. You could also go out and get home equity lines of credit. Now, again, I don't recommend these. It's not a strategy. I'm like, hey, go take your most important possession and ladder it up with debt. This is not something that I'm a huge fan of. I don't believe in putting risk on your family home, but it is a effective strategy. It is often the cheapest debt, and I do think you're starting to see, oh, yes, we will keep going. That is a glacier just coming around the cusp right there. I hope you're enjoying this. I am freezing right now. It is so cold right now. It is so cold. I have no idea how I'm doing this. You could do a home equity line. Again, I recommend being extremely conservative. If you do choose to tap your home equity line, I strongly recommend that you focus on paying that off. You treat it like a high-interest credit card where you have every interest in paying that off. So again, you could get 401k loans, car loans, home equity lines. The key is when you find a deal and you know it's a deal, you go get it. Now, again, remember, I do not recommend all of these extra debt measures until you know what you're doing. It takes time. I know there's a lot of excitement in real estate and you just want to get going and maybe you don't have the cash yet. But remember, all the way back to number 1, there is nothing wrong with just letting the cash stack. Dion has proven time and time again that if you just have a plan, you're disciplined, maybe you go get a side hustle and stack that cash also. You can get there, right? This is not a sprint. This is a marathon, not a sprint, a marathon. So don't feel like you're behind. Just keep daily discipline, keep working towards your goal. Other things you could do. I've known lots of people who go out and flip things, whether you're Brian Pineda flipping couches or Jason Pritchard flipping homes. Something you could do is you could start flipping things. Now, if you're flipping homes, what I often recommend is why don't you flip 2 and keep 1, right? Because again, flipping is nothing but a job. It is active income. It is something that is just, you don't want another job. We're trying to build long-term wealth. All right, folks, those are all of them, but I haven't hit the most important one. The most important one to scale your portfolio. It's time tested. It is the most important, and frankly, it is just time. Real estate investing done right, one rental at a time, focused daily discipline. It is quite simply slow and steady. Again, we talk about getting wealthy as 3 steps. Create disposable income, become elite, do it for a decade. Folks, it takes time to skill up. It takes time to learn a market. It takes time to build a network. It takes time to show people that you know what you're doing. It takes time to raise private capital. It takes time to learn the lessons. It takes time to become a great investor. So folks, if you want to grow your portfolio, it is absolutely possible. I don't want you to rush it. I don't want you to think you're behind. You've got this. You're okay. And yes, folks, I've successfully done it. We've talked all the way to seeing a glacier. Can you see just all the blues? That is a wild sight to see. Hope you're enjoying that. That is crazy. Alrighty, folks. Again, remember, you too can scale your portfolio. It just takes time. Again, number 1, lit cash stack. Number 2, cash out refi. Number 3, 1031 exchange. Number 4, private money. Number 5, joint ventures, and all the rest. We're going to let this roll for a little bit, just let you enjoy the glacier. I'm going to step to the side, just let you enjoy it. Alrighty, folks, enjoy your day. It's freezing. I'm going inside.